have a practical idea, I am going to ask you some questions to evaluate how can you perform questions. Only this is why I am going to ask you some questions relating to IELTS Speaking Part 1. So, dear guys, are you ready to answer the questions on IELTS Speaking Part 1?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, I request you all to mute yourself, please. Mute yourself. Shariful Islam, please mute yourself. Yes, everyone, please mute yourself. I will request someone and he or she has to answer the questions. My first question goes to, well, uh, Shariful Islam showed up. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Shariful Islam showed up. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Sharif. For you, I would like to ask you the question about newspapers and magazines. Mr. Shodop, can you clearly hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Loud and clear.
please speak loudly. Do you prefer to read newspapers or magazines?
Sir, I prefer reading newspapers as they provide us information about our surroundings.
Well, second question for you is, do you prefer to read news online or in a newspaper?
Sir, I prefer reading news in a newspaper as reading a hard copy is far better for our eyes as we put so much time reading a news.
Wonderful. Do people in your family often read newspapers?
Yes, yes, the people in my family they read newspapers. Especially my parents, they're fond of reading newspapers.
Wonderful. Do you think it's important to read newspapers?
Yes, sir. I think it's really important to read newspapers as newspapers provide us overall news or overall idea about our country, our social status, our international affairs, everything else. Without reading newspapers, we will be just blind about our surroundings. So it's really important.
Thank you so very much for your nice performance on IELTS Speaking Part 1 about newspapers and magazines. Thank you, Mr. Shorab. But in real examination, you will be asked on 2 to 3 topics. But here only, as the time is so short, I have asked you only on a single topic. Now I must move to Mr. Shahidul Islam. Mr. Shahidul, are you here?
Yes, sir. I can
Well,
hear you properly,
would
sir.
like to ask you some questions about movies, Mr. Shahidul. What's your favorite
Yes,
movie?
sir. Actually, I'm a fond of movie, and Bengali movie is one of the most favorite to me. My favorite movie is সেদিন দেখা হয়েছিল.
Thank you. Second question for you is, do your friends like this movie?
Oh, actually, I have a lot of friends, and one of my friend, once, one of my friend suggests me to watch the movie, and he also like this movie too.
Thank you. Do you want to be a movie star?
Oh, it's a. Actually, I don't want to be a movie star because I have a dream. Want to be a teacher so that I can teach my area's student so that they can go to abroad for higher education.
Excellent. What kinds of movie do you think young people like?
Oh, actually, we are living in Bangladesh, and most of the young people are engaged in romantic movies, and it is very acceptable movie in our country. So that's all.
Wonderful performance has done by Mr. Shahid Islam and Shourab. Shariful Islam Shourab has done also tremendously well. Now the time is for Farjana Yasmin, Rehnuma. Rehnuma Mahaz,
Yes, sir.
Rehnuma, please. Rehnuma, for you, the topic is discuss animals. Let's talk about animals. Have you ever kept pets?
No, I haven't because I'm afraid of it.
Okay. Do you like to go to the zoo?
Yeah, I like to cause I've intrigued by animals. A lot of animals I've seen before or I've known before.
Well, have you ever seen any wild animals before?
You have seen in the zoo. Um,
Yasmin, you are answering only one sentence answer. That is not fair in IELTS. I requested you a couple of times to answer in a details with minimum 3 to 4 supporting ideas. You guys are getting the answer only by the main information. Remember to add minimum 3 to 4 extra information with your answer. Well, for you, the last question is, what wild animals do you like most?
Maybe it will be lion cause it has such a good manes and about his roads and everything is like it's called a king of animals and it's such I don't know I'm just messed up.
Wonderful, back. Thank you for joining Yasmin. It's a really great comeback. I request you always for joining Yasmin. Actually, you hadn't tried is the problem, but if you try, I think I think you may overcome the obstacle what you did previously. For your each of the answers, Rehnuma, my request goes to you for each of the answer. Always please try to answer by minimum 5 to 6 lines, not a single line. In IELTS, if you answer by a single line, your score might be in 3 to 4. So to boost your score up, you must try to speak minimum by 5 to 6 lines. I hope you understood the Rehnuma.
Sure, sir, understood.
So this is how you are going to face your IELTS speaking part. But the thing is here, I asked you only one topic, but in real examination, you must be asked 3 or 2 topics at a time with 3 or 4 questions. Now we are going to move for Q card. You must be ready with Q card as well. Let's move to Q card. Well, the cue card is in front of you, so you are requested to have another preparation for 1 minute over the cue card. You are given only 60 seconds. I mean, 1 minute for have a short preparation on cue card only, not part three, only on part two, please. And yes, your preparation, 1 minute preparation time is over. Now you have to talk for 2 minutes over the topic. I mean, cue card. So here actually we are trying to know the speaking full module practically. In last class, I provided you only the theoretical knowledge over IELTS speaking module, and today you are having the practical experience on that specific module. So, friends, we have already covered the speaking part one session. Now the time is to move to our IELTS speaking part two. I mean Q card part. Here you will be given 1 minute for self preparation. Later on, you have to talk for 2 minutes alone. In first part, I asked you the question that was questioning and answering. But in part two, I will not ask you any question during your 2 minute talk. I will just count the time. So your time starts now. I will request one by one. Let me get ready with my stopwatch. So I must move to Labib Shahriar. Would you like to talk over the topic, please, Mr. Labib Shahriar? Can you talk for 2 minutes?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. I am describing a person who taught me a skill that
Okay.
the person was MD Shukuramin Miyaji, and he is my friend. And he is my very good friend, and he taught me to ride a bicycle. And it's my dream to that I ride a bicycle because that in class 1 to class 6 I can't ride a bicycle, and he promised me that friends I can learn you to ride a bicycle. and that I had never ridden before. For I can ride a bicycle. He taught me, and he taught me to ride his own bicycle. And for I learned it, I have to go in his home, and he took his bicycle, and we go to a school field, and the field was so big, and he at first he ride this bike, and call me that I just see that how can he write this. And after that he called me that I just sit in this bike, and promised me that I can't he promised me that I can do if I he just promised me that yeah, I can do that if I say if I will prepared in myself, and I have to be self confidence. And he took me confidence to that friends, you can do this, and you can do this. Uh, you can do this. You just sit, and you just sit in this cycle, and
Thank you so much,
y-
Mr. Labib Shahriar. You made me something really historical. Dear members, you know Mr. Labib Shahriar is just in class 10. He is going to sit for SSC examination this year. So at this stage of his life, he has spoken for 2 minutes short. Yes, it's true that he made some unwanted grammatical mistakes. That's true. But the main achievement is he spoke for 2 minutes at a stretch without any hesitation. I really appreciate your mind blowing performance, Mr. Labib Shahriar, and wish you the very, very best of luck for next time.
thank you,
Now
sir.
the time is for, thank you so much. Now the time is for, who is left, Mr. Shahidul. Mr. Shahidul, yes, now you are on fire.
Oh, now I want to talk. Now I want to talk about a person. Actually, in the world, every person have a favorite person. My favorite person is Mr. Ibrahim, and he is my first teacher, and
Sorry, Mr.
I have
Shahidul.
learned English from him.
Mr. Shahidul, sorry to say that you
Yes, sir.
are in off topic. The topic is not talking about your favorite person. Why are you starting yourself by talking about favorite person? This is all about a skill. You lost the topic.
Oh,
Just get ready with the topic for next time. The question is a person who taught you a skill. So don't talk about a person for a long. আপনি person নিয়ে অনেক বেশি দরকার নেই বলার. You must talk about, if you look at the later questions, আপনি যদি পরের questions গুলোর দিকে তাকান, the emphasis goes on your skill, what you were learned by anyone. So I hope you understood. Now I must move
yes.
to Rehnuma. Rehnuma, are you ready?
Yes, sir. I'm ready.
Now you are requested to talk to the on the topic for 2 minutes. Sure. Your time. Please wait, please.
Should I start? Sir, should I start?
No. Yes, now you can go. Please start yourself, Miss Rehnuma.
Okay. First of all, it's one and only my father. I got interested in English by him. He encouraged me to learn something new, something different that will make me unique from others. I love, though he's always inspired me and about English skills to just improve my vocal and to improve my pronunciation. Then I searched it on YouTube and just I find a lot of videos and on it, and I started practicing improve my pronunciation. And I have a tight knit bond with my father. There Though he's my father, he's my everything, and I respect and adore him the most. Whenever I get trouble, my father was always with me, and he just kept cheering me up that I can do something, I can do well, whatever it is. And first of all, I just kept talked in this, and I think I'm just improved a lot and keep up doing this so that I can do all more better in future. And that's how my father learned about learn and helps me about English, and the skills is and it's the skills that really helped me to do something, and that helps me to admit it or something internationally I can do, or I can prepare myself and I can show myself that I can do something better. That's how my father helps me for a long time, and that's it.
Hmm, okay. Uh, it's true that you have got really a surprising vocal. Your accent is really mesmerizing, Miss Rehnuma. I really love it. Dear members, as the time is limited, I can't give the floor to everybody. But friends, you have got the crystal clear idea about IELTS speaking part one and part two. I think you have no further problem to understand practically. Mr. Shahidul, Mr. Shahed, here is also Mr. He is
Yes,
Mr. Hasib, Mr. Hasib, Mr. Hasib, can you hear me, Mr. Hasib?
Yes, sir, I hear you.
Mr. Hasib, in speaking part one and part two, I think you have no problem. Have you?
Yes, sir, I had no problem. I understood properly.
Okay. I think everyone has understood, I mean, the strategies of IELTS speaking part one, part two. Along with, you have also learned how to answer on these specific two parts, as some of the members have tremendously done well, and their performance really touched my heart. If I specifically mention their name, Labib, Mr. Shourab, and Rehnuma Sultana, and Mr. Shahidul as well. You guys have really done well. I hope if you are continuing yourselves at home by answering in this way, inshallah, you are going to hit in IELTS speaking test by scoring 8 plus. So thank you so much for your nice performance.